Hi everyone. So we are trying to show you how to assemble a robot in this video. Um, we'll introduce you through which modules are present in the robot, and then we'll talk you how to assemble them mechanically, and then after that how the data communication and the power would work. So if you focus on these robots, so you can see these two at the top are passive wheels, so they have no active power going on, they are just going to be passively moving around. That's why they have the same color, and as you can see there's no ports at the top, it's just a plastic cover, so that is a way for you to identify which that's a passive wheel. And starting off here, this is the one of the basic components. This is the battery pack. You can identify it by the emergency button and the Ethernet ports and these XT60 and other kind of power ports, and a small LCD display. So this, what's normally we only have one battery pack per robot, but you can have more, but in the robots we are using, you'll only be having one. This supplies power to all the other components that require power, and it only handles power. There's no data communication that it's going to send. And next to this, the battery pack, this is the PC. So we have an internal NUC inside here, and all the ports are exposed at the top. So you can identify it by this HDMI cable, this Ethercat ports, and all these Ethernet ports, and two XT60 plugs going in. This controls all the wheels of the robot, and this is how you can access to the robot. That's the main PC component. And next to that, we have in this configuration at least two active wheels. Then you can identify them by these two Ethernet ports and two XT60 power ports. So that's a way to identify these ones. So if you look at this, and you have to pay attention to that, there are two LED bulbs which shows that if there's signal coming into these ports, this will light up. So that's a way for you to recognize whether the wheel is active. We will talk more about this when you're talking about how data is connected. Now we will introduce you all these modules one by one, just to give a little understanding. So we are again going to start off with the passive wheel. As you can see, you have to be careful, like there's no support on its own. And if you come closer and like take off this cover, you can see there's nothing inside from the top. It is plastic covers. But if you look at the bottom, yeah, that's a caster wheel. It just rotates around. Yeah. These, and the way there are a few connection points to this, like when you are connecting mechanically, or if you want to attach some adapters or something, you have these slots to attach. And when you are connecting these modules to adjacent modules, these are the slots that you use on the side. In a little bit we'll show you how we connect them. And again, there are some other mounting points here as well, like these slots that you can see at this point. And we use these holes to connect to adjacent ones as well. So just to summarize, to connect these modules to adjacent modules, what you do is you use these slots and these holes. But if you want to attach, let's say, a LiDAR scanner or some other module, you can use these slots or these ones. Yeah. Next, we are going to talk about the battery module. Again, you can identify it from emergency button. That's the main feature, I think. And there are these XT60 ports and Ethernet ports. If you come, just like the other passive robots, and this is common for all the modules, the way you connect to adjacent modules is using this slot and this hole over here. If you're connecting something outside, you can use these ones and this slot over there. So the main features are the emergency button, there's adapter that connects it to the module itself, and this normally comes already attached to the robot, and this cable should go to here, which is EMB. So this is where you connect your emergency button. If it comes off, normally it's all is connected. So when there's an emergency, if the robot is going somewhere you don't want to go, you just smash on this button, and if you want to reset it, you just twist it and the emergency button comes out. If you focus on here, like I'll show you the ports that we're using. So the data ports are these two. So if you can see the text here, it says in here and then out here. So incoming signals goes to this one and outgoing little cables goes here. Then you have the power button here. Then we can turn it on. So you press on this power button for a few seconds and it turns on, and you can see there's monitor, settings, and turn on output. So if you click on, so A is used to select your option and B is used to move through the options that you have. So if I click A on monitor, you can see at the top here it shows the amount of battery left. So it says SOC 57%, that shows the battery amount that's left. And then there's voltage and current going through. If I want to return to the main menu, what I do is I press B because I have to go to my options in this monitor menu, and it says main menu. I press A, I go back. And the next important setting is you can press B, turn on outputs. So you press on this for a few seconds and this turns on all your wheels and the PC, because this is the main unit that supplies power. And to turn it off, it's just same as that. You press and hold onto this and for a few seconds it turns off. This port, you can see, connects to the external charger that if you want to charge your batteries. It says CHG there, and we normally don't use this. This is if you have another backup battery. So this is like the slave battery that connects to the main one. And we use this one, if you can see, power out, to provide the loop, power loop from this battery. Now this is the PC module, and it's very easy to identify. You have HDMI outputs, USB cable outputs, and Ethernet. Yeah, if you just want to connect the display, just connect here. We only have 2 USB ports right now, but if you want, we can connect a USB hub and get more connection points. And if you zoom in on this, you can see there's a symbol saying in and out. So the power to from the battery comes to here and it moves outside from this output. And Ethercat is the one that we connect to the battery. So this is the output port. This is where the data link starts from. So the data starts from the Ethercat of the PC and it moves to the battery first. We'll show you more about it in later. And these are just Ethernet ports that if you want to connect to the PC itself. Now here we have an active wheel. You can recognize it with the 2 Ethernet ports and the 2 power ports. Again, like convention, you can see these labels in and out. So power in comes here and signal in comes here. Power out comes here and goes from here, and power signal out goes from here. Just like all of the other modules, as we repeated, if you want to connect it to a adjacent module, you have to use this slot or these holes. Now if you look at the bottom, and this is the active wheel. So the way it works is these 2 wheels can move individually by themselves, and there's a passive pivot here. So technically, in effect, it can act as an omnidirectional wheel by individually moving these 2 wheels. And yeah, and you can see there's suspension over here. Yeah, like this is the suspension is the one that allows it to move around like this. Yeah, I think that's it for the active wheel.
Now we'll look into how to assemble these bricks. So in order to assemble bricks adjacently, we'll use these corner slots. So in those slots, we will attach these brackets. Individual brackets are having 4 slots where 4 bolts will be attached with slot nuts. So one of the features of this slot nuts is you can easily align it vertically and pass it through these slots. And once it is fixed, then you can tighten these bolts. And once it is tightened, you have to make sure that the slots which you can see from here are vertically or horizontally aligned, so that it won't come out. Say here, if it is vertical, then it can easily come out even if you tighten it up. So you have to make sure that it is aligned horizontally so that it holds this slot very rigidly. So this will connect to the adjacent brick in this manner. So here you can see the other two slots can be used to connect bolts to the uh, slot in the corner. So now if the bricks are connected adjacently, now in order to connect all the bricks internally, we have to place these plates underneath the junction connecting four bricks, and you can use these screws to interconnect between the four bricks. Here this plate will go below the bricks and you will screw it from the top.
Okay, we are now about to start the mechanical assembly of the robot. So this is a top view of what we are going to plan to do. So on your left hand side, you can see the two active wheels. So that's what we're going to start assembling first. And then on the middle, we have the battery and the PC. And on the right corner, we have the passive wheels. Since the battery pack and the PC does not have wheels, so they don't have support at the bottom, so it's advisable to start with the wheels. So now we are going to start with assembling the active wheels on the left. Alright, now we are going to start with the two active wheels. To start off, the plan is to put this bracket inside this slot, as you can see here, and then use two more poles and connect put this inside here. So the way we plan to do is we are gonna push this slot nut inside and vertically initially, both of them, and then use another Allen key from put Allen key from the top and push it to the side so that it's horizontal and would not come off.
Yeah, actually it is advisable to keep the bricks on one side such that it has a flat surface, and at these corners, as you can see, there is a slot. You can put these slot nuts in, and then using Allen key you can just turn the slot nut such that it becomes horizontal. Yeah, like this. Yeah, once it is horizontal, then you can rotate these bolts. Initially, yeah, you can use the other side of the Allen key. And yeah, once it is almost tight, then please again verify if these nuts are horizontal. If not, push it using Allen key to make it completely horizontal. Yes. After that, you can tighten it a bit, and then use two more bolts to attach it to the adjacent brick. So yeah, again tighten it a bit, and now make sure the slot nuts are horizontal. Uh, Please make sure the bracket is in the center of this width, and tighten it with full force such that it won't come off due to the vibration. Yeah. So now we will attach the plates at the junction where these two bricks has to attach to the other two bricks, and then we will bring the other two bricks onto the plates and attach them as well. So yeah, it is actually advisable to put the plates in this state, um, so that you can attach the other two bricks later on. So the plate will go in this fashion where the edge will sit in the slot in between. Uh, Now you can use the screws to tighten it. So you can use the screwdriver to uh, tighten it fully. Yeah, now you can see the plate is fully tightened and it is completely fixed by connecting these two bricks. And just to bring to your attention that the plates should be underneath and the screws will go from the top. And the next two bricks will come next to these two bricks from top. So it is it's advisable to use the two more bricks and keep it on top of these two bricks and attach the brackets as well as tighten these plates. So yeah, the next two bricks, that is the CPU brick and the battery brick, has been placed on the two active wheel bricks. Here you can see these two bricks are overlapping the slots for the screws in the plate. So now we will attach the screws and tighten these up. So while tightening these screws, make sure that you don't fully tighten, and you it should be tightened only after connecting the brackets towards both the ends. So now we will connect the brackets at adjacent ends. The first bracket will go like this and connect to the top brick, and similarly another bracket will go to this edge and connect to the top brick in this manner. And you can now connect the plate over here as we did before. Now after connecting the brackets, these screws are tightened up, and now one more plate will go in this position, and as by following the same procedure, two more bricks will come on top of this one. Yeah, so after assembling all the bricks, the platform can be brought down to the ground, and here you can see the brackets are attached in all the edges. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 brackets and 2 plates. So now we will look into how to attach the wire connections.
So now we are going to start with the wired connections. To start with, we are going to start with power. You can see I have 3 power cables for the 3 connections that I'm supposed to make. As we discussed earlier, power starts from the battery. And since these are modular robots, so you can add more modules or bricks as you want. So it will go off in a loop. To start the loop, I'm going to start these XT60 cables from the power out port labeled here. So I'll connect that one to begin with here. We can do arranging a bit later, but for now, what I'm going to do is power out comes from here, and there's another label called in. So you connect the in to that. And I take the next cable and I use the matching end to the out, and then it goes to the in of the next module. And even in this case we only have 2 wheels, but if you have more wheels you'll be connecting just like we did before, from in to out, from in to out. But now this is the last wheel we have, and we're going to end the loop at the PC. So I'm going to connect again the output to this, and I'm going to connect the final loop to the in here. And since there's no more connections, we are just going to leave this empty. Okay, now we are moving on to the network connection. Just to point out that I put these power cables through these slots to make it a little bit neater. And now when it comes to network or communication, it's a little bit different to the power supply. If you can remember, the power supply loop started from the battery, but this networking communication network starts from the PC. Again, I have 3 cables for the 3 connections, and this one Ethernet port with the end cutoff. You will see why we use that in a bit. So it's again little similar to how we did the power. So it's again in out, but this loop starts from the PC. If you can see here, there are Ethernet ports, but there's only one label EtherCAT, which is the one you have to use. Don't confuse it with these Ethernet ports, which are the connections to PC. So I'm going to start one cable to the EtherCAT, and the next cable must go to the in of the battery. So it goes to the in, and it's pretty similar to how we did the power connections. It's in, out, and in goes to the wheel, and from here the out, and again goes to the next in. If there were more wheels, we would have connected in a similar fashion, but now we have come to the end of the loop. And to indicate that this is the end of the loop, we should add this empty Ethernet cable. Yeah, and that's the network configuration done. Okay, now we finish all the mechanical assembly and the communication and power assembly. Now it's just a matter of tidying up the connections. To do that, we have these plastic covers. So what you do is you just arrange your cable a little bit neater so it goes through all these slots and it does not tangle up with any of the other wires. And just simply use these and just pop it on and just close it off, so that all the cables are running through these slots rather than over any other modules. And we will now show you the completed version, how this module would look like with all the mechanical parts assembled, the wires and the covers. Alright, now we finish all the assembly, the mechanical assembly, the networking, and we also put the covers on top. So your final robot should look like this. And now it's all assembled, so just a matter of fact of turning it on. So if you can see, the power button is here. You press and hold it for a few seconds until the display comes on, which it's not. Yeah, now that it's assembled, we are just gonna turn on the robot. To turn it on, the power button is here. We press it and hold it for a few seconds until the display comes on. The display comes on. Kishan, can you pause it again? Okay, now that this is assembled, now we're going to turn on the robot. To turn it on, we press on the power button here. You press on it for a few seconds until the light comes on. Now it comes on. It says Hello Robotics. It turns on. We have 2 buttons to move around this menu. So button A, labeled here, is to select your option, and button B is to move up and down your options. So when I press B, it moves up and down. So to begin with, if you want to check how much battery life is there, you go to monitor, you press A, and you can see there's 57% here right now. Between there's 57% battery, you can see the voltage and the power draw. Now to go out of this menu, you again press B to see the options, and the option is to go back to main menu. I press A. Right now the PC or the motors are not turned on. To turn them on, what I do is I again press B until I go to turn on outputs. I press and hold A, and now you can see all the modules are turned on, which is indicated by all these blinking LEDs. You can see all the LEDs are blinking in all modules, which means we have completely turned on the robot.